Well, hello and welcome to Little State Big Voices with myself, Shahida, and my fabulous co host, Tracey.
Hey, y'all. You're already
I don't even know why
laughing.
I started like that. It's just because this week has been a week for like hot topics. And
Yeah.
only really one, really. I mean, but before we get to that, do we have any Rhode Island news?
The only thing is that, there's back and forth about whether or not we're dealing with a New England serial killer. And I guess it's developing. It's a developing story. But, I guess since I've been living in Rhode Island, I hate to say it like this, but it's not that uncommon for them to find bodies in like bodies of water. That seems to be a theme around here, but we are the ocean state. We literally live on a canal in Rhode Island, like in Providence. And so in my head, I was just like, oh, maybe people either fell in because they were under the influence or that kind of thing. I never thought about it being like something nefarious, but
Yeah.
I guess there's a Facebook page called Rhode Island Serial Killer that kind of got some speculation going that maybe there could be, a murderer among us. So it's like they're finding bodies off bike trails and off these like riverbeds and things like that. Now, on the news just the other day, which I don't watch the news, I accidentally watched the news because it was a commercial in between a show I was actually watching, and the news reporter was like adamant that the police have said these are not connected, yada yada yada. But it's weird to think, okay, several bodies have been found dead in bodies of water and they're not connected.
Are they women?
So there are women and men, but apparently
Okay.
one of the men that was found in one of the bodies of water is the partner of PVD Biggie, who's a reality star from, I think it's Bad Girls Club or Zeus Network or something like that. So she was trying to bring attention to the fact that she's not getting a lot of help in cracking the case on his death. And I actually heard that on another podcast. I heard that on Club Ambition on
Hmm.
their podcast. So I don't know. It's just maybe because I don't stroll along the river and I also don't jog along any paths. Not to say people shouldn't safely be able to do those things.
Hmm.
I'm not worried,
Hmm.
but if there is, something bad going on and they're not telling us, that's not good.
I've heard, I first heard it from my grandson. That's crazy because
Well, I'm
he
sure
saw
that
it on
the rumor
TikTok,
mill is ill in middle school. The rumor mill is crazy.
obviously. And so I did see like certain clips, like when they did find somebody, but I haven't delved into it. I haven't like,
Me neither.
seen anything on the news. I haven't read anything in the newspapers or anything, but I do know that when it comes to serial killings, police always adamantly deny that there is a string of serial killings. They never want to go that way from watching all my crime shows, from listening to all the podcasts. That's the first thing they do is deny, deny, deny. So we'll just have to wait and see. Unfortunately, that is
Yeah,
horrific.
and I'm sad for all the victims. It's sad when someone, turns up, dead,
Mhm,
obviously. You know
mhm,
what I
mhm.
mean? It
I
doesn't
wonder if
seem,
like any of them were like missing for a while before.
I don't know. I'd have to look
Yeah,
more into it.
yeah.
But one thing that did kind of come to light was that with this Facebook page, someone apparently, so the administrator of that Facebook page actually took the page down temporarily
Okay.
because
The police.
someone was
Oh.
pretending to confess to these serial killings. So, and then I think they dispelled it and it just turned out to be someone goofing around, which is sad and terrible. But it was like, someone was horsing around acting like they were confessing to these
What
murders. So
is wrong
it's
with
gotten like out of hand. You know what I mean? But I
Oh,
mean, we come from Massachusetts, so we come from Boston Strangler culture, all that stuff. Like, you know, Zodiac Killer, that was New York, but that was like something that I remember from being a kid. So there hasn't really been like a big serial killer out in a while since like Ted Kaczynski or maybe like what's his face there? You know, the dude
oh,
that cannibal Ted, not Ted Bundy. Well, he was one, but the other guy, Dahmer.
yeah, yeah,
Dahmer. So
Dahmer.
I haven't heard like a big serial killer story in some time. So maybe people are kind of trying to.
Well, the Long Island guy, he just got arrested. He was killing
Mm.
all those prostitutes in Long Island, and that was
Oh,
just, I think he just got arrested like what, a year ago?
oh, I didn't know about
Maybe
that.
not even a whole year, but that's probably the latest that I've heard of. I just don't like the idea of
Yeah,
like just it's just it it's too crazy here to be worried about serial killers too. What, like literally we should be there are a whole lot of things right now for us to be worried about, and we
right.
just don't need
But
another check.
also, I'm surprised more people don't turn up dead in Providence in the canal for the simple fact that water fire, there are no barriers to you falling your behind in that canal and being on the edge of that pier. Like it's easy, I think, easier to fall in than it is to not fall in because there's no railings really other than on the bridge.
Thanks for scaring the shit out of everybody,
I'm just
Tracy. Thank you.
saying. I'm not scared. I'm giving you all information. I'm saying if you come through the water fire,
Mhm.
especially if you get turned up and you have a couple of drinks first, don't be trying to sit. People sit on the ledge,
I have sat on the ledge.
ma'am. Mm-mm.
Kind of cross-legged, not my legs
Nope.
over, but
Nope.
it's been a while. I haven't done that in a while. I haven't been to water fire in a while.
We
So
need to go this summer.
hopefully, I
But
know
yeah,
I'm gonna get it this summer.
sorry
Ah,
for the families. But I do
yeah.
have possibly some potential intel on the firefighter story, a bit of a
Yes, you
follow-up.
told me that. Please tell us.
You get so much tea at the beauty salon. I wasn't there to get my hair done. I was there to get my nails done.
Hmm.
But a little birdie who may have some inside information told me that it may be drug related, specifically like CBD oil or edibles type. It's not even like as dramatic. When I found that out, I was like, really? That's the thing? That's so egregious? Or what was the word that was used? Not egregious, but
No, he didn't use
yeah.
egregious. What did he say?
But it was like the
Oh,
worst he'd seen in his
what?
years on the
And yeah, and if it is like, oh, they were, even if they were selling edibles or giving edibles or taking edibles, this just brings me back to, if this is the case, because I really would, because but we said that last week,
we
that it
did.
could be a case of something like so stupid that they're making it sound like, oh,
Right.
he said nefarious is what he said,
Mm,
so made it so big, and then you go, oh well, we have some firemen that were using edibles. The thing with edibles, again, I go back to, society has made marijuana this big boogeyman. Like
mm,
it is the most, and I think more so because black people used it more so back in the day.
mhm,
And so they made it this ghetto drug, and it was like the worst thing alcohol is the worst thing that you can consume in your body. It absolutely is. It is what destroys families. It's what destroys homes. That and gambling.
mhm.
Those
Oh
two
my God.
vices. But definitely alcohol. There is not many people that that take an edible and then go out and fight in the streets. There's
It's
not many
called
people.
kind bud for a
Yes.
reason. It's kind.
I didn't know it was called that. So
But
not even.
yeah, kind bud.
At
That's one
the
of
end
the
of the
nicknames.
day, it doesn't uh, it can affect your life if that's all you do.
Mhm.
It's all you do. But alcohol, just one mishap with alcohol, you getting so drunk that you pass out and then somebody picks you up. That's an incident. You getting so angry that you beat your wife, because we all know that police officers consumed a lot of alcohol and they have a lot of domestic violence within the force.
Mm,
Alcohol. So if this is the case where these firemen were taking edibles, no, you should not be doing that on the job, and you should know better.
right.
Slap on the wrist. But if it was alcohol, they'd be in a drug treatment program. They'd be getting all kind of help and sympathy. So to me, it's the difference between a drug that is accepted by old ass white men, because those are the ones who make it sound like it's such a ghetto drug and it's a gateway
But
drug,
they
and it is
all
not.
smoke. They
And
all
it is not.
smoke. They all smoke.
Maybe.
A lot of them smoke. And I don't even smoke, but or really like, and I've had edibles. It's not my thing. You know what I mean? But and I
But you haven't
definitely
done it right.
I, I don't know what that means. I just know it
It
doesn't
just
give.
means that you didn't go with the flow.
No, the flow tried to go with me, and I didn't like it. It freaks me
You
out.
didn't do it right.
Literally freaks me out and makes my extremities tingle and makes me feel weird. And I'm just like, no, not it's not my thing.
You have to find your balance. You do. You have there is a middle for everything. There definitely is a middle for that. And I agree, because the very first time it's just like it freaks you out. But for them to, if
That's
it
my
does come
understanding.
down to it being about some edibles, then I hope that they go to their union reps and they fight like hell, because between that and alcohol, the amount of care that they would get for if it was alcohol compared to them saying, oh well, it's edibles, oh, you're just out. So
So
it has to be more.
I think that it because it was so many of them, it was like they were doing business. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, I
True.
had a couple of little, cookies in my brownies in my locker. It was it appeared to be like
Now, if they were running a
commerce.
business,
Yeah, and so that's why for
well, how are they running a business when you can? There are like 3, 4 edible places within Providence,
so
and
here's
has the biggest one.
So here's the thing. Apparently, as a firefighter, you get drug tested every month or something like that, and you are not allowed to consume, even though it's legal, as
Mm-hmm.
a firefighter or a civil servant or whatever, you're not allowed to consume. That's part of like your agreement. So I can't, as Fire Marshal Joe, Anna, go walk into the edibles place, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, ain't you Fire Marshal Joanna?" You know what I mean? So,
But then it would be stupid to take them because you're going to get drug tested.
so then here's the other part of it. This is how my mind works: is whose pee are they testing? That you still have a job? So I don't think they got
It's
busted from like testing.
it
I think
cannot be this. It
I
cannot be this.
well,
This would be the dumbest thing.
but I'm
It
not.
would
I
be.
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if that is the thing that they are vilifying when we have so many more serious things going on in the world, in
in
Rhode
in
Island.
Rhode Island,
Yeah.
again, do the people who are drunk, who come to work drunk, and still get the proper care that they would need to hold on to their jobs? Because you don't get fired for coming to work drunk. Your rep could come in there, it can bring in all kind of reasons of why this happened or whatever. You go through a program. It should be the same thing. And I
That's
understand
yeah.
it's almost like a racist thing when it comes to edibles or anything having to do with marijuana.
So I think if they could prove, oh, I have an addiction, this doesn't seem to be an addiction type situation. Because with the alcohol, yes, you can get alcohol treatment. But if they were running a bar and
And it's
selling like
legal.
bootleg liquor, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That might kind of garner the same response. But the I don't know if it was the AG or whoever was, where somebody was on there talking about it on the news, and they were saying that they're not trying to be tight-lipped, but the union has kind of tied their hands from revealing everything, but they said more information will be coming out. So I kind of want to follow the story because I want to know
I do
what
want to follow the story. I need to know.
I want to know if what I heard from basically from the horse's mouth is true or not.
Was it from the horse's mouth? Because it was at the nail salon.
But so the person who was also at the place with me has inside information in the fire department.
Okay.
In a
Okay.
different jurisdiction. But
Okay.
I think because I was just talking about it, and she leaned over and said, I know some things. I was like,
Well,
oh.
tell me some things. I would be like, tell me
I
some
was
things.
like, ooh, and I sure didn't tell her I have a podcast and I'm gonna air it out on this podcast. So, but yeah, and I said, well, why were they blowing it up like that? And the response is, ain't shit happening in Pawtucket. That's big news in there. So when I was like, well, why did he say in all his years he never? She was like, because ain't nothing happening over there like that. That's a big
But that's
story in Pawtucket.
ridiculous. That's
She said
ridiculous.
that's a big
That
deal in
it's almost
Pawtucket.
like so high school. Like it better be something
But
big.
the
It better
way
not be this.
But like you said, like the way stuff gets blown out of proportion. You
Yeah,
know
but I
what
don't
I'm
see if it's
saying?
on the news for it not to be. Anyway, that's stupid. But anyway, we don't know. We don't
We don't
know.
know. We
But
don't know.
this is it.
We shall
This
see.
is it. And the only thing I can say about this is it we were really thinking some horror stories. I specifically was thinking of and having to do with young girls or in and out of the fire station. So kudos if that's not the story.
Right.
I don't want that to be the story.
Yeah.
But speaking of young girls,
Talk to me about young
it's like um there's a lot going on. I mean, today was a very what would you call it? An interesting week.
Let me scooch closer.
Okay.
No,
All right. All right.
I'm not laughing at the young girls, but yeah, it has been a week.
Okay, so Shannon, are you okay? Are you okay, Shannon? Shannon, are you okay? So Shannon, are you okay? Are you okay, Shannon? Shannon, are you okay? Will you tell us that you're okay? You try to stop with a pinto, and she said she wants your big black babies. Meanwhile, in the market, get some caramel or some chocolate. Get freaky in the bedroom with the white now. Here's your do. Shannon, are you okay? So Shannon, are you okay? Are you okay, Shannon? Shannon, are you okay? So Shannon, are you okay? Are you okay, Shannon? Shannon, are you okay? So Shannon, are you okay? Are you okay, Shannon? Don't go inside. Don't go inside a 19-year-old.
OMG. First of all, I'm just shocked that they have not. I just get such like bisexual vibes from him. I'm just surprised it's a girl.
Okay. I never even thought about that, but it's a possibility. But so we're gonna
A
talk
girl
about
who's
Shannon Sharpe.
a girl who's of age.
We're gonna talk about Shannon Sharpe. Now I'm just gonna give just a tiny bit of background now for people who don't know who Shannon Sharpe is, which I find crazy because he is all over
He's
Instagram. But
everywhere.
he's an ex NFL player, and he's what a sports media personality. He has like two podcasts, one with Ocho, and
Mhm.
then another one. What was it? Club Shay Shay. He
Club
has
Shay
those.
Shay is the one he's most known for. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's making bank now. He's about to sign a very big, lucrative podcast deal.
Is he?
Well, it's on hold now, but he was about to before this young woman
Yeah.
filed this lawsuit against him. So he's being sued by this woman, young lady, Gabrielle Zuniga, for $50 million in a civil lawsuit. She claims that they had a 2-year relationship and it became abusive, including allegations of sexual assault. The relationship started in 2023 when she was 19 years old. Now, Shannon Sharpe was born in 1968.
Ooh, not you
In
bringing out the 1900s.
June in 1968. That makes that man 56 years old. He started this relationship with her in 2023. Shannon Sharpe is the same age as me. I'm just older than him by months. Okay? That's
And
all I'm
I
saying.
always agree with things that Monique says, but when Monique was on Club Shay Shay, she literally was like, "You need a grown woman in your life."
Because he was obviously out there. This girl is claiming like sexual assault and like emotional distress. He, and they did play she released an audio, and I was looking for the audio before I came on, and I'm pretty sure most people have heard the audio, but I couldn't
Mhm.
find it to like bring it up. But she played an audio. Now when I listened to the audio, did you hear it?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I
no.
know the allegations, but I don't. First of all, I know she's saying she's 19, but the picture of the lady that I saw looks like
No, you might be seeing another woman, because he also is being sued by this a woman that he was in a relationship with for 10 years, and her lawsuit came out the
okay.
day after
Mm.
the other one, because the other one, she does look around 18, 19 years old. Yeah,
The
19,
woman
20.
I saw looks like she's about 40.
That's the one he had a 10-year relationship with. So there's two. So
Mhm.
he's being sued by two women. So one is like 21. Her name is Gabriella Zuniga, and then the other one, let me find if I can see her name, is Michelle. And remember, there was a video.
Oh, Michelle.
It
Oh,
could be the
Michelle.
same. It could be the same Michelle. I'm not sure, but what's her name? Michelle Evans. Michelle Evans,
Not
right?
oh, Michelle.
So anything, the thing with the 19-year-old, she did release this audio, and in the audio he said something about he was going to choke the shit out of her, and then his lawyer is saying that that's the kind of role play that they did, a lot of
Oh,
BDSM. What is it?
oh, oh,
BSDM.
oh, like, yeah. But now, isn't this the one that was like, put a big black baby in me?
Right. So that was one of the texts, but the video, going back to the video, I did want to say, and if you could get a chance to listen to it, the video to me seems heavily edited,
Oh,
because
okay.
there's like long periods of absolute silence.
Are they supposed to be having sex
No,
during
no,
it?
no, no. This is a conversation that they're having. So something jumped off
So
in the audio.
I'm not here to say that women's claims about sexual assault are not true, but we are also living in the AI age where anybody can make a deep fake video. And if you want $50 million and you're a
I
shallow
don't think
person,
I don't think we haven't seen the video. We haven't seen the video,
no, I'm
and that's
talking about just an audio. You can make a deep fake
he's not
audio.
denying the audio. He's
Oh
not denying the
my.
audio. I'm saying, but he's also saying that he was
That
taped.
they were playing around.
No, he's not saying that. He's saying that he and her, well, one, that she taped him without his
Consent.
permission, but
Hmm.
she's also saying that he taped her sexually without her permission, and so is the other woman saying. But the thing he's not saying is that he's saying that that's the kind of role play that they did, and that there's more to it. And so the audio that she did release could possibly be true, because it's so there's so many dead air and on the phone call, and I'm just like,
Mm.
if I'm having an argument with somebody, or a minute and a half of just nobody saying anything, it just seems very odd. So anyway, so she's suing him, and then a couple of days later, the other woman who you saw the picture of her, and she looks like she's about 40, said that she was in a 10-year relationship with him,
Mm.
and that she's suing him for sexual battery as well. That they got into a heated argument some years ago, and I mean, I think in 2010 is she suing for. They got into a argument, and he grabbed her, forced her down on her knees, That happened, then turned her around and said, I'm going to make it so that no man ever wants you, and then forcibly. So,
That's if these
both,
allegations are
yes.
true, like, wow.
But this is not the first one. I mean, he's had a lot of these allegations, but back to the 19-year-old. The other woman, okay, she's closer to his age. That's one thing. And he's saying that the 19-year-old, well, she's 20, what, 21 now? 22 now? He's saying that this is a shakedown. Sir, if it is a shakedown, shame on her. But why are you being shaken down by a 19 to 22-year-old girl in the first
Who
place?
could be your daughter?
In the first place, why are you messing with these women? And now, one of the things that they said, both women have said, this is the freak, that he engages in race play.
Because they're both Latinas, right? Are they both Latina?
Um,
I know one is Latina. Zuniga, I believe, is Latina. Zuniga is
I
a Spanish
heard
name,
that, and I looked at both of them. The white Latinas
but
to me,
they're white
and I don't think
appearing.
that makes a difference in him. I think he just saw two white women, and that's what he wanted. That's it. I mean, because just looking at them, you're not going to know their whole pedigree. The first thing you're going to see is just two white girls. That's it. And then he pursued the girl, the 19-year-old, at the gym. So from what she's saying is that, he approached her, she begged him off, he approached her some more, and he begged him off, and then it was like about the fourth or fifth time she was just like, okay, let's go out on a date. And she
That's
said,
shocking.
well, they were both at the same gym, right?
I know, but
So then she
after
says,
you say no, 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 no,
mhm,
no.
this is what she's saying. But it gets worse, because then she says their first date, they don't even go out. He just takes her back to his apartment. No, did they go out? Yeah, they did. They went out to eat or something, and then he brings her back to his apartment. He just goes upstairs. She follows him. He goes in the bathroom for 5 or 10 minutes, comes back. He sits on the bed. She sits on the bed. She says he says nothing to her this entire time. He lays down. So she lays down, and she's just laying there, and he doesn't say anything. And then she says he grabs her by her neck and then proceeds to from behind.
So let me
So
ask
why'd
this
you go back,
question. Let
ma'am?
me ask, well, and I'm not victim blaming, but what's $50 million going to do for your booty hole? I have questions.
That was the second one. That was the second assault. I mean, that was the first lady that's like 40
So,
years old, had the booty hole thing, and
didn't he turn this girl around from the back?
yeah, he did. So, but no, I don't
We
think
don't know.
it wasn't anal. It was
Do we know? Do we know that?
no, can't say 100%. Their relationship did have that. I mean, she did mention that at a later time, and I'm not victim blaming at all. I'm putting all of this on him. All of this on him,
Yeah.
because he just doesn't. It's like, are you not watching the news, sir? Do you not see what's like going on with all these different cases? Did you not just see Diddy go to jail? Do you see, R. Kelly in jail? People are coming out, and there's a statutes of limitations on these things, and they're getting it in before those statutes. She asked for 10 million. He said no. She said, fine, I'm going to go for the 50. No, he offered her 10 million. She said no. And she said she wanted 50 million. So people are saying she must have like one hell of a tape or something that's coming out. And he said the tape is really about what, 20 minutes or 25 minutes long, and that her lawyer is only going to release like 10 minutes of it.
So this is my thing with these situations, and I can't say how it would feel to be victimized in this way. I mean, I'm a
As
woman,
a woman or as a man?
just as a woman. So
Okay.
I will know. I'll take that back. As a woman, we deal with some BS. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
be clear about
All of
it.
us.
From teenager on up to, I'm sure you've been in, precarious situations. That's kind of unfortunately part of being a woman. But like you said, to return to the scene of the crime and come back begging for more, and then you're demanding money. But what are you doing? Like, as a woman, I would feel like, okay, if I'm victimized, I don't care how much money the person has. What am I doing to prevent other women from having to deal with this? And filing a lawsuit or blackmailing someone is not about the greater good of anybody else than yourself.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I feel like one at
Why not just tell your story?
19 to 22, if you listen to her on these phone calls, when I say she sounds like she's like 15, mentally just not sharp, just not sharp
Sharp
enough to
enough,
do this.
sharp enough to sue for 50 million.
But probably being advised heavily. I did not mention who her lawyer was. But before
Oh, is
we
it
go
someone you know?
into who her lawyer, because it's the same lawyer that tried to hem up Jay-Z. Um, what's his name? Because I think Shannon Sharpe has the lawyer that Bill Clinton had. Lenny Davis, I think is his name.
Wow.
Lenny Davis, yeah, I think he has that. But her lawyer, Tony Busby, is her lawyer, and he's the one that had some client come out there and said that Jay-Z raped her when she was like 14, and he came out that same day and basically was like, I didn't fucking do that, whatever. And then it turned out that it was, fabricated.
Yeah.
So and that's what Laney Davis is saying, that this particular lawyer, Tony Busby, goes for cases for celebrities like this to get a bank. And then, here she is, she's, ripe and ready. She's young white girl, young white Latina, whatever you want to call her. She's still a young girl, and she sounds like a very young girl. This is, again, I get what you're saying, but at 19, even before 25, I'm just going to say before 25, were you really thinking about the greater good? Or sometimes you're in a situation that you don't even know that you're being raped at 19 to 25, because you
Agreed.
just take it as part of that relationship. And then
Mm,
he's good on with everything else. And but I'm in a relationship with this person, and I tell them no, but I'm in a relationship. And they
right.
take it, but I'm in a relationship. This person's paying my rent. This person's taking me out. This person's buying me bags. And I say, no, I don't want to do that today. And he still goes ahead. You don't think that way. And
Mm,
I don't think you think that way until you're out of the situation. Now, what made her jump out of the situation was that tape or that audio that came out on Instagram last summer. And
Michelle.
when you didn't see anything, you just heard them in their tryst or whatever. You just heard them, and he was seeing Michelle, and then all of a sudden, this woman Michelle is suing as well, and they've been together 10 years. So she, the girl Zuniga, she is saying that she thought that they were in an exclusive relationship at that point when that audio came out, and that's when she's like, I don't want to be with you anymore. And then she's saying that she told him, he forced himself on her, and she said, well, I need you to have a condom on. And so then he forced himself on her even without a condom. This other levels of like, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot going on here, and unfortunately, if she's lying, if she's telling the truth, you at your ripe old age should not be in this situation.
Yeah. No, he definitely is the fool here. But I'm just like, honestly, I don't like. Where's this girl's people? You're 19. Where's your damn people?
Well,
Because
one of the things his lawyers kept saying is she's an OnlyFans girl. She's, she works for OnlyFans, and she has a site on. So He knew she had an OnlyFans. He knew what she was doing for a living and how she was making money, and he didn't care.
Yeah.
He asked her to sign an NDA on their first date, and she said no. And he said, "No, I want you to sign this NDA." No. And she didn't. And here we are. So I just can't find, I'm not finding fault in this girl. Take him for what? Stupid. Because nobody should be this stupid.
Yeah.
Over a 19-year-old girl, you're going to
Who ain't
risk
got, who don't know
life
nothing
and
about
money
nothing. No, no,
over a
no
19-year-old.
offense. No offense to my 19-year-olds, but y'all don't know shit yet. You just don't.
You can hear it. She doesn't. And it's no offense. It's no disrespect. I didn't know a damn thing when I was 19-year-old. I thought I was really smart. I
And
thought
being
I was
smart
really
and
smart.
having common sense are two
It's two
different things.
different things. There you go.
Her frontal lobe was still percolating. Like,
But again, you, after she said no NDA, if I don't agree that a 53-year-old man should be chasing after no 19-year-old girl. That I don't agree with
so
that
was
at
there
all.
overlap? You're saying there's overlap between the
Him,
sexual relationship between Zuniga and Michelle?
I think so. He's just out, and it's probably somebody else. It's probably somebody else because I think Zuniga, she moved to Vegas. They're saying she moved to Vegas when he moved to Vegas. It,
So again, if
just
if
made a
this
mess.
tape didn't come out last year, exposing that he had multiple women, would y'all still both be rocking with him?
Who, both of them?
Yeah,
Probably.
that's what it sounds like to me. And this is why
Mhm.
I get riled up about these lawsuits because I understand your pain and suffering. I understand compensation for you've been hurt, you've been
But
wronged.
how much compensation do you deserve
That
for two
that part.
years of service?
And it's only for what? It's for you. It's not you're not coming out saying, I don't want other girls like myself to fall in
I
this
wouldn't do
situation.
that. I don't know. I just don't think I would think that way. I know.
But what's the lawsuit for? Like, are you pressing charges? What do you like? Which is two different things. One's civil and one's criminal. Like, why not just do the criminal route? If you feel like you were violated,
Because in the criminal, you have there's more burden of proof that you have to prove.
she
It's
got
much
proof.
easier to do a civil than it is. But maybe her lawyer feels that it's easier to do a civil case than it is. I'll look that up because
Well,
I've heard of quite a few people ask that question. In my case, is like the one who's there with him for 10 years. I don't know how much she's suing him for. I thought
I
50
never even
million.
heard of this woman. Sorry.
Who?
This 10-year, I never even seen a picture of you two together until this week.
Until I've never seen him with any woman. Like when he
So,
goes out to like basketball games and you see him on the sideline, I don't see him with women. I see him with other guys, like hanging out.
and
I've never seen him with women. But then again, I'm
my,
not
and my,
checking for him like that. I'm not check. I
nor
don't.
nor am I, nor am I. But I'm just saying he's frequently photographed. He's often photographed.
Mhm,
He was photographed in video going to Total Wine one day with a tight sweatsuit on and
mhm.
a purse. And I'm just like, I didn't even the fact that there are women involved is still shocking to me. That might be why he's turning them around to the back. But anyway, um, yeah, this also triggers. It's not funny because he shouldn't be violating women, but I'm just saying, um, it triggers the story where Kevin Gates, the rapper Kevin Gates, was saying that he doesn't feel like Savannah James
I hate
looks
that guy. I
at
don't even know who he
LeBron,
is.
doesn't look at LeBron the way white women look at him, and she should be looking at him more like, oh, LeBron or whatever. And I'm
That
like,
sounded so stupid.
dude, who asked you?
That
Who
was the
asked
dumbest
you?
thing I've read like last week. And then had the nerve to show up to the basketball game when LeBron's playing and be
With
sitting
it
on the
with his shirt
sideline.
open or off or whatever. And they basically were like, I think LeBron said, kings don't entertain peasants or something like
Which
that.
is true.
I'm like, this woman's been with him through thick, thin, kids, this, that. She's running a
And I love me
household.
some Savannah.
She got a
Love
whole bunch of business. How is she supposed to look at this man? I've been married for 25 years this year. I don't look at my husband like no type of whatever these white women are lusting. He cute and everything, every now and then, but I ain't looking at him like that every day.
and and when I see it's the same. When I see Savannah and him, they look like a married couple. They look
Yeah.
happy as hell because they banking and they got great kids. They look happy. What more are you expecting? It's just I think people say things to just get clicks
I
because
don't.
it doesn't even make sense.
Kevin Gates says a lot of wild stuff, so I'll start.
I didn't even know who he was until this. So who the hell is he?
He's a rapper, and he also believes in like
He's a rapper.
withholding his ejaculation. Like he's into all like these metaphysical.
Holding it for what? Because
It's
I can be down with that because the way people be out here making babies and not taking care of them, then keep it.
but it's supposed to like make him stronger. He does a lot of things I would categorize as weird. You know what I'm saying?
That
But
sounds
I'm like,
weird.
sir, ask yourself why these quote white women are looking at him like this, because they see money, fame, prestige. If he was LeBron working down to the grocery store, wouldn't nobody be checking for him in his bald-headed ass like that? So please stop it right now. There's a reason those women are looking at him like that. There's black women looking at him like that too, but his wife is not obligated to look at him
Every damn day.
like oh my god, like I'm living a fairy
Like,
tale, because
is
maybe
he
their life.
saying that she should be so grateful to be with him? That's how
What?
she should be looking?
That woman's son almost died. Bronny almost died.
Mhm.
He had like a heart situation, like when he was like, she got a lot on her plate, and now he's in the NBA. That lady doesn't have time to be thinking about no LeBron James like
But
that
we
7.
that was stupid.
It was
But back
dumb.
to Shannon Sharpe. One of
Yeah.
the things that came up during this whole thing is race play.
Mm.
And I never heard of that before.
Yeah.
But you said you hadn't really heard of it, but you had an
I
idea.
have an idea. I haven't
Have an
heard that
idea.
phrase coined, but I've
Mhm.
always imagined that in interracial relationships, because I've never been in a relationship with a non-person of color. Let's put it like that. Everyone I've ever dated has been a person of on some spectrum of the color
Mhm.
spectrum, not white, not Caucasian.
Well,
So
it doesn't necessarily have to be a white person. It's race play is basically it's a sexual practice where either one or the other has a different racial background and they create this kind of power imbalance
mm,
of BDSM scenes through slurs and narratives, objects maybe, used during racial history. It doesn't necessarily have to be white and black. It could be a Latin man, with a black woman saying he wants her to pretend to be a wench. So in some of the texts that Shannon and the 19-year-old were sending, they were kind of like on that spectrum of like, race play.
yeah,
I want you to put a big black baby in me and
dumb. Why is that sexy? That's so stupid. A big black baby. First of all, you could tell she's young and stupid, because first
he
of all,
likes it.
who the
I'm
heck
pretty
wants
sure he guided her on the things to say.
who the heck wants a big I'm a black woman and I don't want a big black baby in me, okay?
Maybe not focus so much on that. It's the fact that she was saying all kind
I
of,
know.
well, he too
I think
racially kind of charged things.
she was trying to find things to say, so that's what she cooked up or whatever. But I'm like,
But why this big? And then he said something about, yeah, about choking her, and he was like, I can see it now. Big black man chokes little old white woman. Little, no, he called her a little old white girl because she's a girl. So they were doing a lot of that kind of BDSM, and then, lading it with racial talk. Like, I just couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine somebody
Girl, people have some
being
weird kinks out
initiated
here.
outside my race
People have
on more than
some
one occasion.
people
And
have
it's
some weird kinks.
cannot. And yeah, what's the saying that you said, or that's all over the internet? We don't shame or something.
Oh, we don't judge.
Oh,
We listen, we don't judge.
listen, we
Not
don't
in this
judge.
scenario.
I gotta judge you. I
Not
gotta
in this
judge you.
scenario.
Your big ass is talking,
The only
letting this
way
come
I
out.
could see it is if I'm master and then my, my partner is the
Mm-mm.
slave, then I might be able to get jiggy with it. Cause
I don't want no parts of it.
can I be
None.
can I be master? No.
You could be whoever you want to. You all work that out with, and that's another thing. What I'm saying with like with him and the NDA, men don't know how to do shit without their business being out in the street.
Dumb.
They don't know how to
Dumb.
do shit. Think about how many celebrity scandals you've seen or heard that involve high level celebrity women. How many?
Very,
I
very
can't think
few
of
to
any.
none.
And if any of you all have some, please, let us know. I want to know one where it was like, oh my God, so scandalous, but men, so
The
stupid.
only one I could think of is Ellen, and it wasn't sexual. They were just saying she's mean or whatever. But it's
No,
like,
I'm talking sexual.
oh,
I'm
sexual,
talking
yeah.
absolutely got caught leaving somebody's house when you know you was married and had 3 kids at home, was on a plane, was cheated on, whatever.
Only Nicole Murphy. She kind of was out there.
She wasn't a celebrity though.
She is kind of.
No, yeah, her proximity is to celebrity because of her husband. But what movie or anything that she's in, what did she have to lose?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, true. Like a high,
Nothing.
like a high
She didn't have
profile.
a
You're right.
career. She
Yeah.
didn't have a big album or something. Nothing. She had nothing to lose. But
You
these
calling
men,
her a C-lister.
yeah, she is. And fine. I wish I was a C-lister. I'd be standing right next to her, proud and loud.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, these guys, you
Careless.
careless, have so much. Like Shannon, here it is. You are on, like, you had a great, successful NFL career. I didn't know him when he played,
I
in
don't
the
even
NFL.
remember him for that anymore. And I know he's an NFL star, but he's more known for
Yeah,
this.
and I've seen some of his clips. Phenomenal,
Yeah.
right? Phenomenal. But you had a great, successful NFL career, but able to parlay that into a big spot on ESPN. He was on ESPN for a long time with that guy. What's his name? Shep something or whatever, and just left that, and then was able to go out on your own, and your brand still
And
growing.
he's not a journalist. He's not that well spoken. Like he really like
But he's funny.
he is. He
He's
like
funny
I
on
would
when he
listen.
does the sports stuff. He's funny and he knows sports. He doesn't need to be a journalist to analyze the football game because he's been a part of that game, so he knows it. I love sitting down with people who play sports and then them telling me about the game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's more insightful, right? So here he is. But he was on his way to be even bigger than that. You know, after the Michelle thing, that video that came out, I think a sponsor, I think it was like a condom sponsor or something, he got big money after that. And people were saying he did it on purpose. And kind of think he did.
Because how do you go live? So it's almost now I'm almost wondering, did Michelle turn
She
this
said
thing
she
on?
didn't know. She's saying, but the both of them are saying that he would tape them without them knowing, and then they found out that he was sharing it with his friends, like a fucking 15-year-old.
Mm,
When do you grow up? This is part of what I wanted to talk about, like with
yeah.
people like Shannon. I get that you don't want to settle down. Okay, marriage might not be for everybody, but you're out here pretending to be this buck. Let's keep it 100
Yeah.
because that's what that's the role playing you're playing at. You're being this buck, and but at what point do you say this is not sustainable for me? Because I know that men get a certain amount of money and they don't care if a woman wants them for the money or not. They just want the hole, right? They
Mm,
just want to be able to hit that hole and say, the young women still want me, but they don't want me. They don't want you. It's the
right.
money. So, but at what point, when your life is just going so well, do you say, let me get this part in order? Because there are 40-year-old women, there are 30-year-old women who is just as freaky and will do all the same things, but you know that you can control this 19-year-old into doing.
Because you
Just
want
because a
this
person's
girl,
older don't mean that they're smarter.
because they want this girl that's fresh out the pack. You know what I'm
There you go.
saying? Like that's
Fresh
the
out
bottom
the
line. No,
paint.
barely any stretch marks, if any. Gently. They don't want a gently used woman. They want a
But supposedly she was the only fans
yeah.
and she was being used. I mean, Lanny Davis is calling her very promiscuous. And
Mm.
Lanny, you can't call her all those things because he stayed with her for 2 years. So those things did not matter to
So
him.
here's my thing. What when you say I was with this man for two, because sometimes women do this. Oh, we were together 2 years.
He
We were
said that
together
they were
2 years.
together for 2 years.
He said that. Shannon
He
Sharpe
said
said
it
it.
as well.
So he's saying it. He done. I'm done. I am so done.
He's saying it as well.
Because I'm like, knowing somebody for 2 years is not the same as being with them.
100%. I get what you're saying because I said the same exact thing. Was it just I hit, okay, I'm in town, you hiccup, but that could be a friendly relationship.
Yeah.
But no, they were supposedly together. And in one of the audios that she tapes, he admits to that as well, that they're in a relationship.
Yeah. I don't know. The whole thing is just disgusting to me. Like all of it's gross. Him being with this super young girl who could be his daughter. Really, I mean, if you do the long division, she probably could be his granddaughter's
She could.
age, like 56, depending on, when you have
Hmm.
a kid, the, mm, it's all bad. It's all bad. And I also just I don't like the way that people put a monetary value on their trauma. You know what I mean? I understand suing, I
Hmm.
understand all of that, reparations, compensation, all of that. But it's just everything seems like it's a money grab. Like and let's say he said he was going to give her the 50 million, would she have just shut up?
Probably. I
So
mean,
then
he
he like
offered her the 10 million, but I'm pretty sure. And when she said no, and I'm thinking he's like, that's just way too much. I'm hoping that it's not a Cassie situation because remember, Cassie asked for a certain amount of money.
yep,
Diddy was like, nope.
yep,
And then all of a sudden, everything hits the fan. Don't let
deflected.
everything hit the fan, sir. Not that I pay him much attention, but don't let everything hit the fan. So, okay, I'm gonna go skip a little because we're getting close up on time. So, in the midst of all this, if you had listened to Tracy Ellis Ross and Michelle Obama a couple of weeks ago, Tracy Ellis Ross says that she dates younger men because
I did hear her say
say
that.
that younger, older men are pretty toxic her
Mhm.
age because they're not thinking outside the box. It's all about domineering or whatever. And they have like their issues. So she dates younger men, but she never said an age, right?
Right, I'm thinking 30s.
I was thinking 30s as well. She never said, but why is all these black men coming out like dogging her. Well, Shannon Sharpe is dating this person or whatever. Nobody said nothing about Tracy Ellis Ross.
Because
Tracy,
men go way too young. Men go way too young. If that person could be your kid, and I don't know if Shannon Sharpe has children or not.
he does, and her daughter is 30.
I am 50. My daughter's 33. If I suddenly became single, how do I look bringing a man that's 33 to Thanksgiving or whatever, and my daughter's 33? Like, I can't, my mind just starts to unravel. I can't, like, and maybe that's the biology of being a woman, or maybe it's just me. I'm not going to put that on all women, but I just can't, I can't see that being maybe 40, like safely out of the range of, and of course you can't help who you fall in love with, all of that, but these don't
You
sound like,
can.
these don't sound like, these don't sound like the epic romances for the times. They just sound like dirty hookups. I'm sorry. I don't
And
know.
don't try and drag Tracy in this bullcrap because and here we go. Another dude just messed up for no damn reason.
Yeah.
Don't drag her into it, which I thought was just insane. It's just like the amount of people who who really are trying to justify this man in his behavior. Again, I'm with you up to a point, like the money part and the suing part and this thing, what, but at the end of the day, this was all controllable.
His
You
fault.
thought you control her. You thought
Fully
you could,
his
but
fault.
when she didn't even sign an NDA, you lost all control. And people, and even if she didn't come out and say, I want this amount of money, what she did do is come out and embarrass you and made you
And
look like a fool.
at the very least, if you don't have enough respect for women not to do these things, think about your pockets. Like, think about
You would think you would think about that first.
your pockets and
First.
your legacy. In your legacy. Do you want to be known as the rapey guy? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because now, but
You're not gonna die.
but look at Mike Tyson. Look at someone like Mike Tyson, who was definitely accused of rape and like very brutal assault, and people celebrate him right now. So maybe it's not that big of a deal to Shannon Sharpe, and he's like, you know what? In 5 years, I'm gonna be selling,
Well, I
you
would.
know,
I mean, like with
whatever.
Mike, yeah, I agree. But I always go back to Chris Brown for me because after I saw those pictures of Rihanna, I have
I don't
never
fuck with
liked Chris
him.
Brown. I don't listen to shit that Chris Brown sing. I was appalled when Sierra a couple of years ago decided
Defended
she
him.
wanted to do a song with him.
Oh my
I'm
god.
like, but it wasn't. It didn't stop at Rihanna. Then it was the other girl. What's her name?
Karuchi too.
So he has a pattern of very abusive behavior, and people still out here in the street
Not
talking.
only that, not only physical abuse, but some allegations of colorism that I tend to believe about him.
Oh, I definitely believe it too. I don't hear as much about that, but definitely the abuse,
And
the physical.
he's gonna be performing. I'm not even gonna say where he's performing locally because I'm not trying to promote this fool. But
Not at
people
all.
are like
Not
psyched
at
to go
all.
see him, and people like, people are like, oh, still listening to his music. I'm like, why are you putting money in his pocket by listening to anything that he put out? Like, he disgusts me at this point in
Disgusting.
time. And as much as I enjoyed some of his songs in the
Mhm,
past, I don't listen to them. The same way
mhm,
I cut out R. Kelly, I don't listen to him anymore.
mhm.
You know what I mean? And
The
and
thing,
yeah.
the thing with Chris Brown though is like when the whole thing happened with Rihanna, he was very young. And then I heard about how his mother's husband used to beat her, and I'm like, okay, I get it. So I said, you know what, I'm not going to hate this person because he's very young and he could get the help and he could be a better person.
Yeah.
But then I said, I didn't have feelings for him one way or the other. Once Rihanna said, I forgive him, I'm like, okay, maybe things have changed and he has changed. But then Karuchi came out. And I'm like, this nigga ain't changed. He hasn't
Mm-mm.
he hasn't stopped doing the shit that he's been doing,
Nope.
and he's still a piece of shit. And then somebody else came out and said the same thing. So it's a history.
Yep.
So the Shannon Sharpe, like you said, why would you want to risk, even if 5 years from now you come out of this and everybody's laughing about it, it's not a big joke. You still have to go through these 5 years. You'll be 57 in June. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't know if you're even going to be around in 5 years. But why would you want to risk your reputation in your pocket for a 19-year-old girl who you say it's a money grab? Well, why'd you let her in your wallet in the
Right.
first place?
Right. Yeah. Dumb.
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 Dumb. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And if the way to people need to understand the way to generational wealth is not by sowing your seed all over town. And if that woman was talking about, because it wasn't the first time she's talking about having a baby, there was some other stuff
That's
like
what I'm saying.
she wanted
Imagine
to
if
like,
she really like had a baby. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if she then, I don't know.
maybe he's had a vasectomy. Maybe he's smart.
That's what I was thinking.
Maybe he's smart because obviously there's a lot of women he's out here tipping and tapping with, and he's not using a condom. That's another thing. People don't worry about STDs anymore. Are they all curable? What?
I don't know. I don't know.
Just
But
out here? Just out.
and it's at the point now, these apologies, like these celebrity apologies, I don't care. Like I don't nothing you say even sounds credible. It sounds like something your publicist wrote. It sounds like Diddy came out with an apology. Who cares? No one
And
cares.
he came out with that apology. What was it? The day after we saw the video, but
And
before then, he was absolutely in denial. Wasn't saying anything.
didn't really apologize to who he
Yeah.
needed to apologize to. So
No, didn't even mention her. I don't know. Poor Shannon Sharpe. We will all see how it rolls down, but the internet is having a field day with this man.
there'll be someone to take his place. Someone else will be doing a podcast, interviewing all the people and whatever, and life will go on. And I was, you know what I was thinking the other day? Where the heck is Matt Lauer? They got him. They took him down good, and I ain't seen that man since.
I always had um conflicting feelings on that. Because I've read some of the complaints and it was dirty, but that was a consensual affair.
But him having a buzzer in his office to lock the door, locking women
Yeah,
in his office.
to the person he was having a relationship with.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like just random chicks coming up in there and he could lock them in there. I mean, that's not what the complaint was. It was this
Okay.
specific woman that he was having a specific affair with, who knew he was married to, and things ended badly, and then it
But
blows up all on him.
this is my other thing is like women who react negatively to the unraveling of a relationship or not
Mhm,
getting their way, like, because this discredits women who really are victims.
mhm,
That's my other issue with these giant lawsuits is now you're making it look like you're fine with it until you're not fine with it. That's not,
exactly.
just don't be fine with it from jump. The first, second time it happens to you, girl, run the other direction. And
But
then
I
everybody
always
doesn't have the strength. Everyone doesn't always have the strength. But
right.
then you had the strength to come up $50 million lawsuit. That it just doesn't it doesn't jive well with me.
And see, the thing with, especially with Matt Lauer's situation and a couple of other ones who are married, you go into the situation. I'm guessing these women go into the situation. Oh, I know he's married. I just want to hook up with him, and that'll be it. Then he's spending a little bit more time with you. He's like, you know what? I can take you to Paris because X, Y, and Z happen. And, we can slip off and go away for a few days or whatever. You're like, oh my God, that's exciting. And next thing you know, you're going from, oh, I just want to do this a couple of times. I know he's married, to like, I think we could really have
I
something.
could see a
I
future.
could see us together. And then you're like, well, Matt, when are you gonna leave your wife? Matt, are you gonna leave your wife? He's like, no, that's not what this is. And then your feelings are hurt. Now you're like, I feel used. No, why do you feel used? You went in, you knew what the situation was. He told you what the
You're like,
situation
you knew
was.
you were a
You
side.
develop feelings. And then now you're mad. And instead of just saying, hey, I got a trip to Paris, I got a Hermes bag, I got my rent taken care of for like 2-4 years, blah blah blah, and going about my business. Nope, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make sure that his wife knows that he's having an affair, and I'm gonna come a lawsuit.
So
And
is
he loses his job. Bonus.
so is this what happened with Michelle and Zuniga? You know what I'm saying? Did
I don't
Zuniga
know.
figure
It could
out?
possibly be, but I don't give a fuck because you're too stupid.
Yeah,
It's like Matt was too stupid. Why would you have sex with somebody that you work with?
because they're right there.
Right? I get it. I get it.
They're
I
in the
get it.
vicinity. You know what I'm
I
saying?
get it.
So but like you said, it's like, especially when you have so much at stake. When you have so much at stake and you
Mhm.
throw the dice down over, like, look at Emi Udoka. He's doing well with his new NBA team, but he had a great thing going with the Celtics. You got this straw-haired woman from the office. When you had Nia Long
When you had Nia motherfucking Long.
and you found this basic bitch in the front office to creep with, and you
And she was married too.
got fired over that.
And she's still with her husband.
I'm sure they probably role playing that shit now. He probably pretending to be Emi Udoka. They probably two white folks doing race play with each other.
He
Is this how he gave you that big African like?
that just grossed me out so bad. I forgot about that case. But again, how many celebrity women or women of substantial means do you know get called out like this?
Yeah.
Just it's
Yeah, I
it's
can't think of any. I can't think of any.
I
And I'm
honestly
sure
cannot.
because we do it better. Women just are better at this kind of stuff.
And and actually not just better, but picking the person. Picking the person
Vetting,
that you're gonna
vetting the
I would
individual.
never in a whole lifetime mess with somebody who was 19 years old. If I was a man.
I don't even think that age they
It
know how to wash right. Like,
don't even sound good to me. No. No.
I'm like
And
trying to think of a 19-year-old. Mm,
oh, what's the dude that I think is so handsome? There's a lot of in the movie Sinners, there was some nice looking young men. But I look at young men and they're like 19 or it's Idris
oh, Damson Idris.
Damson, handsome as hell.
They're good looking. Like, I
Fine
appreciate
as
a
hell.
good looking man. Like, I don't think that, Shannon shouldn't see a 19-year-old and be like, oh, she's beautiful. But
Gorgeous.
to want to
And keep on walking.
pursue a 19-year-old.
And let me tell you, and you're saying like, where's her people? But again, she's doing OnlyFans, and I'm not discrediting that. She could have an OnlyFans and she's just showing her toes for all we know and still making bank. Those people
Yeah,
on those websites, do you make your money while you can? I don't have nothing against it. But my
yeah.
whole point is if Shannon Sharpe was picking up my daughter and she was 19 years old, oh, I'm going to go to the news for you. I'm going to go to the news for you because
I
that
would
shit
have
is just,
snatched that ponytail. So get your ass
I,
back in the house.
I would have just told him, look, unless you don't want the National Enquirer, the New York Post,
But that.
Perez Hilton, I'm telling it, you are not dating
Yeah,
this baby.
yeah.
No.
I wouldn't want that. from my 19-year-old daughter.
Would
That's
not.
someone who's older than me. Ew.
What, same age as me?
But I'm like,
And you just
or your age.
the idea that
More than twice her age.
mm,
More than twice her
mm-mm,
age. And then some. She's in her teens. He's in his 50s. We done went through 20s, 30s, 40s. Too
you
much.
almost 60.
Too much.
You almost 60. You are almost 60. Somebody said on the internet, they said that girl just had a meeting with her guidance counselor last year, and you messing with her. That took me out.
There are 19-year-olds that are still in high school. Like, come
They
on.
are, you know? And for the lawyer to keep harping on like she's OnlyFans, she's OnlyFans. Sir, you're not helping out Shannon. You are not. Matter of fact, you making him sound dumber every time you say, "Oh,
Right.
well, she only had an OnlyFans." So what?
That's the kind of caliber of woman that he's
That's right
attracted to,
there.
that your client is
Is
attracted to.
pursuing. So whatever. It is what it is. Anyway. So okay, enough of Shannon Sharpe. Anything. I mean, we'll be watching, see what else happens.
We'll be watching, and I'm sure some other dummy will, you know, some other dummy will do something else dumb, and then we'll be talking about them next. But it just seems like there's no shortage of men, celebrity men, who
Mm-mm.
fall into these, but they still usually
Mm.
come up smelling like roses. You know what I mean?
I mean, they get tainted. I mean, you think about even like with Chris Brown, it's been a long time before he was able to get back into the popular field again because people were slamming him for a long time.
But the way they put a scarlet letter on a woman for the dumbest, smallest thing,
Mm-hmm.
and these guys, it's like, oh, they'll go away for 5 years and then they're back, and it's just like
And not change the behavior.
not change the
Because he did it
behavior.
to another girl, and then you all still were like, okay,
Yeah,
okay. No, it's not okay.
yeah,
And again, I will never forget her face. I will never forget that.
yeah,
Rihanna's.
yeah. That
And
was terrible.
that
That was so
I
brutal
will
and so
never
bad.
forget that.
And her saying that she forgives him
But
is
how many years later was
right,
that? That
not
was
condone,
probably just
because
for her own
she's trying
peace.
to move on with her life. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And she
Mm-hmm.
seems to be in like a good relationship with Rocky, and she
Mm-hmm.
dated other types of men after that. You know what I mean? But she left him almost immediately, which I think is commendable. You know what I mean? Honestly,
No, because but remember they got back. They tried to work it out, and
yeah,
they got back together, and the people were slamming her. And again, it's I mean, I always was Team Rihanna because even then I was disappointed, but I understood. But it didn't last, and
yeah,
everybody knew it wasn't gonna last. It's hard to come back when somebody hasn't done the work to fix themselves, and it wasn't her that could fix him, and she thought that she could. It was that, but as a couple, before all that came out, I still love them as a couple.
I did too.
Love them as
I
a
thought
couple.
they were a cute couple,
They
and
were so cute together.
yeah,
And then the come to find out this mofo was putting his hands on her like that. No, no,
yeah,
no. No, no, no.
yeah.
Mm-mm. No. So yeah, it's d- domestic violence is just one of those things that if you haven't been in it, it's hard, so hard to
Yeah,
understand. And I try and put myself in those situations because I don't ever want to be that person that's just like, if it was me, I would have did X. I don't know what the fuck I would do.
yeah.
I hope I would walk
I
away.
know what
I
I
hope
think I
I
would
would
do.
put myself in that situation.
Yeah,
And especially when children are involved. That to me is probably the worst is people that end up in domestic situations and they have children that have to witness that over and over and over and over
yeah.
again. You know, it's
But I hope this young lady who,
Folks
I
gonna
don't
be
know.
fine. I think they'll settle.
I just don't, I don't know. I hope she matures and gets,
Hmm.
a better head on her shoulders. And I hope Michelle understands that she don't need to be with Shannon Sharpe, period. Like, if even any of this is true, you need to go the other direction, like, and move on, you know?
Well, but they're both describing very serious assaults.
Well, what here, let's go back to Michelle. When this happened, he didn't say, "Oh, that's my longtime girlfriend." That was never revealed at that time. It was left
When
as like this mystery woman.
hmm
That's the way it was kind of left up in the air. He didn't say, "But that's my girlfriend," and that's my
hmm
the woman or whatever. But
But again, we don't know if this Michelle is the same as the other Michelle.
could be two Michelles.
We don't know. I mean,
What
that's a
we do,
popular
what
ass.
we do know is that it's impossible to accidentally go live on Instagram. We can.
I think so. You have to have to be holding
There's
your
like
phone.
3 or 4 things you have to do. Even if the phone fell or you accidentally try to stop a call from coming in, you have to navigate to the screen. You got to press live. You got to create a title. You got to hit the live, but there's so much you have to do to go live. That's bullshit.
Mhm.
So either Shannon or Michelle turn that recorder on, or whoever was in the room with them.
Somebody lying, and everybody at the time felt that Shannon was lying. He did it on purpose, and he could have, and then he ended up getting a very lucrative deal with some kind of sex shop or condoms or whatever. So he even made bank out of that. I don't think you will make bank out of this.
50 million. Does he have
If
50?
that girl has a picture of her face looking abused in any type of way, it's a wrap.
Hmm.
If she has a picture like Rihanna's picture, it's a wrap. Because before then, we all speculate. Well, did he or didn't he, or blah 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 blah. But if she has a picture, it's a wrap. So that will be it for us.
That's all we got. That was a lot. That was exhausting.
Yeah, it was, and we still didn't even.
Because it's a tale. It's a tale as old as time. Like, why we have to? Why y'all keep doing this?
I don't think they'll ever stop. When it comes to women, men, especially young women,
And
young
not all
women.
men, but a
Mhm.
lot of men
Too
with
many
power
men.
positions
Yeah,
presently.
men of power, men with money.
Yeah,
I mean, but broke ass ones get stupid too.
yeah, that's true.
They just ain't got nothing to lose,
We
and
just
ain't
we,
nobody
we just
suing
don't
them for
hear
like
we
20
don't
million.
hear about them because no one cares. We don't know you.
We hear about them through our girlfriends. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. Well, anyway, have a great week, and we will be back next Monday. And
Yeah.
until then, peace out.
Until then, you know where to find us on Instagram at Little State Big Voices, on Facebook at Little State Big Voices, on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you hear podcasts. But Shahida, where will the people not find us still?
Motherfucking TikTok. Fuck TikTok. Fuck all of them. But you all have a great week. We
Have
will
a
be back
have
next
a
week.
good one.
Peace out.